Now welcome back. Oh. For this video, we'll come start to take everything we don't learn for the first part and the second part. We'll come add everything together. I can see learn new things also. I'm going to carry Bootstrap, use make this custom web page where we dey work with for here. Although this is not just landing page, but you're not going to learn many things. How Bootstrap they work quick. You're going to learn how to take make it responsive. You're going to see how we go take apply different custom styling. Where we say we go just use only Bootstrap. We not go add any CSS. So we go add very tiny CSS to the make and they look fresh like this. So now, if you look this side, you go see say the menu dey here. That's not the menu for this side for here, right? And if I come this request side for here, or this demo side, this request demo, if I click on, it's supposed to give me a model. Model now the thing where they pop up like this, like a pop-up. They call them pop-up model sometimes. But this pop-up model, it get form inside. This is a Bootstrap form we go use do this one. We go see even add Bootstrap validation to this form. You just say we get validations for here. So if I say make I add a rename for here, make I say DJ, you go see say now it don't see say I don't add rename for here or I don't add name for here. But likewise, if I put on for the email, if I just say my email now DJ for here, you go see say it no go work for me unless I can't put the re-email sign for here, which now the at symbol, right? So if I say at and then I can't put the remaining text, so if I just say mail.com, you go see say the thing don't they work well and the validation don't they work well. One letter, it no go work for my form. If I put all sorts of numbers for here, once it reach 11, it's supposed to validate. If I put past 11, it go fail the validation and it go give me an error. So just like here, say, if you even add any text and that go validate. So if I try click on, it no go work. It go prevent them. Now JavaScript go they use to do this one for here. So look at that, no worry. I will show you how to do all these things for Bootstrap. By the end of this video, now if you can build your own. And if you dey think say, oh, this thing where we dey build say na stress, I'm going to take even add media queries. What if you look for mobile phone? No worry, because na responsive. If I press F12 for my keyboard, so it they behave well. So make it is responsive. And you see say now this our site they show. So if I dey reduce them, you see say now it don't drop. Once it don't reach this mobile view, this is a tablet view. So as the day tablet, see as the view be for tablet view, everything they show two column, two column, and this ones they show full. But if I say make I now can't switch them from tablet view and I press, see the menu they show, and I say make I see drag and dance, this small, they look this icon for here, they look at it go see disappear. Boom. So it don't disappear. Now it mobile view. So typical phone, now so they go day for typical phone. What we go do for this side, say una fit download the source code, una fit take this code, do anything we want to do. If you customize that, if you add your own, if you remove your own, if you do anything we want to do with this Bootstrap. If you also make reference, because that's why they share the code with una, they make reference to this code. So if we say we want to do that one, we're going to go this repo. I could drop a link for the description for now. I don't already help una arrange the code. I even see drop description or how you go take download that and set up the project. But if you start with us, you go this starter.html. Then at this file for here, you're going to need to use now this file we're going to use the start the whole project. If you download the code with us, now that file we're going to use the start the project. So if you want to download them, just come here this code and then you go fit download the zip file. When I already familiar with GitHub, you just clone this repo for here. Like we enter inside the video, I would like thank everybody wey don dey follow me, everybody wey don dey subscribe, everybody, you guys are the best. But make una no forget, we get group for una to take join our community for Telegram. We're going to post different things. We're going to give una updates. We're going to even share jobs with una. So make una become a part of this community, because as we start to build them, now going to grow with us as we grow also. If una download the file where the GitHub for this, so we say we get this starter file. So now all the things we get inside the starter file with this. So I could just quickly go through and make una know what's in there. So already we just write this title to show say na social country, na social network app for people where they work and all those kinds of things. Now just example, right? And then say we get the fave icon for here, which just they linked to these assets. And the assets, all the things where they here are just the images. For name images or assets, it no matter. But not just the directory where they keep all our images for them. And then what again we do, we just add this our Bootstrap icons for here. And then the next thing I do here, and I say I just want to add the CSS for our Bootstrap. So we go work with Bootstrap icons. I never shown now how to use them, but I could show now as we go on. And then we go add Bootstrap icons, and we go add so for here we can add our Bootstrap JavaScript, and of course we just get this text for here. We just tell us say hello Bootstrap. So if you now never install your live server, try install your live server plugin from here, and then I go use live server. And once I click this run live server, it's supposed to run the application. We can start to work from here. I would like make we start to work on the nav bar. And then when we work on navbar, we will come start to add the other features. Then we will come start to work our way to the bottom of this site. Once we don't reach the bottom, we'll come start to add the modal and all those kind of other functionalities we need to add for the site. So we can start with the navbar for here. So if you look here, you can see we got this container and our navbar will be inside this container. So right now, this container now here we want first come put our navbar icon. So we could put our navbar icon and we could put like a list for here. And then here we go and say, okay, make this the items, say, make they just spread. We could try to do this in Bootstrap. So if I come back into my VS Code for here, so I would like wrap everything for inside the main. So I could just say inside the main element for HTML. And then I could just say, okay, make this main, make it they carry some section. So what we define is say we define the section, we get class of hero. What we want to do with this class of hero now, say we want just the target, user and the target. This is now our own class. Like we do, we say we want a p and pattern in the y-axis. Then we could just say -3. Add the comment first for here, so we don't get confused. So I could say hero section. We could add a navigation, right? So I could just say make we add the nav element for here. So I could say nav, and this nav I want to give them a class of navbar. So I would say navbar. And I want to give them another class also of navbar dash expand lg. When they say you go to expand whenever the screen don't large, expand dash lg. So that way it could expand when it reach full screen, right? So make it go down. We could enter inside that nav. So now for inside that nav, we define now. Say we want a container. We go wrap everything. So we say container. And this container, we want to make it even get an anchor inside the container first. So we go say we want an anchor, and we go say, okay, now make this anchor, make we just call up a navbar brand. So we say make this container be, make this anchor, make it get class of navbar dash brand. So the logo na image, right? So that means say we're gonna need img. And this image, we could just press tab for there, so we don't get confused. Hashtag for there, or one go down link for there, and then we get our tag. And now we just say we will define for the image, we define the slash assets, and this assets will be defined for here logo. So we say logo -1. If we say this now country logo, so we just say country. Okay, this country's logo. Yeah, make I just save them. So I could just open up my browser. I see say now we get this link for here. I see say we get the container where they wrap around them. So the logo and the navbar, nothing going to come up for there. Now for inside our VS Code, make we say we want to add that collapse button. What go add them? What we're going to need to just add them for inside the same navbar where we work with bar. So make we say we define the button or BTN for this my case because I use image, and I want to make this button save. Make it get class of navbar dash toggler dash toggle. We want to add some kind of attributes like, for example, type attributes. And this type attributes we want to send out. And then we'll add some default, some Bootstrap classes will go help our toggler to the work fine for you. So we'll say data dash bs. And we'll just say this data bs, we could just say dash toggle. And this toggle make we assign them to a collapse value for there. All right. So if you don't like this, we want also add some other attributes, and the other attribute we go add now data dash bs. We could just like this, and then we could just define the target, and this target we define for here now the ID of the element we want target we go add for here. So now the nav drop down, we will never create this ID yet, we never add and finish. So we could go down, make we say we want add the icon, because if I come here, you know, go see the icon. So make we say for inside this button, we want add a span. So I can say span, but this span make it get class. Which kind of class we define? We define the navbar dash toggler dash icon. So if I press tab for there, we already get our icon. That's not all. We don't even need to do any other thing more than that to get the icon. But if we get the button like this, so we go still need to say, okay, whenever we click on, make something they show, right? So make we first see whether we don't even add that button for there. So what I go do is I go on my browser, I go click inspect. If I don't click inspect, it is say now the button don't dey as we expect. So okay, make them small for here. And this is say now if the screen they big, the toggler don't disappear. If the screen is small, the toggler don't show. But if you click on, nothing they happen. We never add anything for here, so make we add the remaining elements we will need. I will leave this open for a while. Make we work with this. Okay. And for inside this VS Code, what's we define? Well, this is what I define for inside here now. And I say, I want maybe say when we click on that button, make some things they happen, make some things they show, right? So what do we want to make it show? Well, we're gonna need to add a div for there for them to show. So just under that button for there, right? And here we go come add the nav icon we've defined or the nav items we've defined. So we'll say we want a div, right? But we want a div with a class of collapse. Another class, maybe nav bar dash collapse. And make we add an ID. So I could just say we want an ID of navbar nav drop down. And then I could just press tab for this so we don't get confused. The idea we say now we create this ID. And whenever we click this button, because of the JavaScript Bootstrap don't set for us, it will come interact with this ID to this ID. So this ID could be anything when we want. Now me just the name like this, say navbar nav drop down, and now the drop down or the menu 9 BDs for here, or the collapsing drop down 9 BDs for here. So you can name anything where you want. So after this class, we will define for here. What's again we need? Well, we go like say we want add the content, right? So make we add those contents for here. But this one on that list now, I want to make it get a class of navbar nav. All right. So we'll say make this on that list, make it get a class of navbar dash nav. And this nav, now here all our elements or all our links go to stay, right? We want a list for inside there. So we'll say li, and each list, what we want to do is say we want to make the list, make them they get class of nav items. So we'll say nav dash items. Sorry, let's see. Nav dash items. We want to put a link as a picking to this li. So we'll say we want an anchor. So I will say want a child with an anchor. So we'll say we want a class of nav dash link. Now all these ones here for here, make we add the link for there we'll define, and then make we add the text for inside the link we'll define. So I will say this is not the home. Now if I press save, make we check our demo, make we see written it is show for us for there. So if you see now we get this link for here, and if you look the finished version for here, you go see say okay now you go see now we get this space for here, we get the space in between each text. But you just see now the text even they bold for here. Unlike for our own case, they bold. So this is not all just the default bootstrap setting where we get for this nav. So make we try reduce the screen, make we see what's in the happen. So you just see the collapse they there and the collapse on the work for us. So if you click on, you get that collapse where they show, and click on and they work for us fine for there. So if I draw them out, you see they show. If I put them here, they show. If I hide them, they don't collapse. And if I expose them for expanded view, it don't expand. So make we touch the remaining code, make we start to the style them to make sure say they work the way we want to make it work, right? And for inside this code editor, make we add some kind classes, and we go help us to touch our style. So make margin, make we get margin for the start. So I will say margin S, oh sorry, not margin D, margin S dash, make we push them to 5 for here. And as that margin did there for 5, make we say we want to add some other styles to the UL list for here, to this list for here. So make we say we want add after the navbar nav, make we say we want make all the elements for this list, make them get 1/4 weight. So we want make the font weight make it day semi bold. So I go say semi bold. And now this semi bold now we get for here, it can affect all the elements with the all the children with this element and the li, the link and all that. So then make we say we define margin for the end, and we want to make that one just for the end of each of these nav balance. We want make it just day for auto. So meaning say it will push anything where they this end, it will push them reach for automatic like that for you. Now Bootstrap could help us to arrange that particular issue. So if I say make we come inside this list for here, what we want to be say we want make each item for this our list. You notice we get space after each item for our links for there. So we'll say, okay, make each item, make it get margin for the end, make it get that 3 margins for there, right? And then inside this our link, make I put this down for the bottom, and then inside this our navbar link here now like this. What I would like to do the same, I would like add some kind of other values, but for now, make we just duplicate them, and I go like add one more class, which now the active class. So make we just duplicate this li a couple of times. So I will just come down here, here, and here. So for inside this li, make we highlight the code, and then make we just duplicate them like make we duplicate them like 3 times. So I will say duplicate, duplicate, and make we do them 4 times actually, and then make we just rename each item for here. So which items do we find? Well, the item way I want to work with for here now like this. Now the second item where we get for here. So first make we add that class of active for inside this link. So I will just come here and I will say active. And once we don't add the active class, that means say whenever we did this link now as the home page, we go they show for the nav now, say for the styling of the navigation link, say now active a day. So if I say, okay, make we come the next item for here, make we come the next element for there. So we can say, okay, now for inside this our second element to what we want to be say, we want to say make this second element where they work with, make it be drop down. We just change the text by the way to community. So we just say community, and this community make we change waiting day inside down. So waiting day inside down first. Now say we want this make it be nav item, but also waiting we want to be say we want to give them some kind extra classes. So make we add some classes to this our item we did here, and make we say the item we defined we want a class of drop down. And this drop down, as we don't write it like this, make we say this link where they inside this drop down, make this link also get in own class. So we say drop down, dash toggle. And if I do it like this now, because you say we fit get our toggle drop down. So make we add another attribute of row. Sorry, row. I say we want make it be button, right? And now as now button, we also need to add another attribute which Bootstrap will need to interact with this thing. Data dash, and then we'll say data dash toggle. And now, waiting with the toggle, well, we want to toggle the drop down. All right. So as we toggle that drop down and we get that role as button, we don't get a functioning drop down menu for here. So make we add those elements for inside, make we add the children or make we add some elements inside down so that we go know say now the button we work with. Remember, say we see the inside here, inside this anchor link we work with, right? So make we say we define the UL, and this UL, sorry, make I go down small. And this UL, what we define, we say we define the class for inside this UL. But the class we define as the drop down, and we define the drop down dash menu, right? Menu. Then we go say we want an li inside down. So I will just say li. And this li, what I want to do inside down, we say I want make this li also make it get an anchor. But the anchor, I go like give all of them where we get for this anchor, I go like give them, like I say I want li times 2 or times 3. So I go say li times 3. And then I go say I want an anchor where all of them get a class of drop down. Let's say drop down dash item. But what I go like do for inside here, say I go like just give some text to them. So I could just give some numbers for this. I could just say text and leave that text for there. And then make we create this element for here. So now all we need now to just select the anchor tags we get. So say make we add this hash for there. So to test the demo, make we see say we get the right thing. So remember, say we supposed to click up and we go get these items for here, right? So make we go back our demo. Wait, okay. And we go back our demo here. Make I put this off. And if I click on, this is a now we get this text 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and everything they work as we expect, right? And if we put on for mobile screen, make we see reduce arm collapsed, and we click on, we get all the menu, all the items for here, and we get both text and everything. And if we click this drop down, we get everything they work as we expect also. So make I just toggle that one and toggle this one. All right. Now make we close this again. Make we go back into our VS Code. And now waiting again day for us to do, make we just change the remaining text and then make we move on. So I could just come inside this one for here and I will say this now the blog. And I'll come the other last one here and I will say this now events. Well, the last element goes still the inside this our container. So just after this li, remember, say we work with this li for here, this list of all the nav links. So we'll close out. Remember, say we want a button for the end, right? And now here we go add that button. So what I want to be say, I will just say I want a class. And this class, make we just say, make this class get button first for now. So I go say this class just get a button btn. So what I'm going to do is say I go like open them and I go just move this. All right. So we suppose see the button go appear for our screen. So maybe I just write the text. So the text we expect here now request demo. And also, before I forget to change the remaining text, sorry, before I forget to change the remaining text, make we change this navbar text we get for here because I believe so we use text 1, 2, 3. So we could just change those text for here. We could just call them, I still don't notice them, so we could just call them members, and then we could change this remaining text here to activity, okay, and then we could change the final text for here to groups, okay. So close that up again, and make we work with this button for here. So if we look inside this our button for here, so like this, what we want to say, we want to make it the extreme. We want to make it come off for here, make it just know the button side again. So make we open up, and this is say now because of this ms weight class, because of this me margin end, the ul they push the button come here, right? The ul they push this our button, they come this side all the time. So if I say for inside this button, make we style them. I want a class, and this class, what I want to say, I want make the class be btn. So I'll say btn. Once I give them class of btn, bootstrap button go kick in, remember? And then we just want another class of btn. But this btn now, we want make it be btn primary. All right. So once I say I want make it be primary, it go change to a primary button. But if you look the design now, we get this blue button for here. But if you look the design, you just see this button look very different from this button we get for here. So this is not the default Bootstrap button where Bootstrap they give us out of the box, or what we call follow come styling where we get for Bootstrap. I want to make this button, make it get a padding for the top and bottom. So I go say py, but I go like make that button for py, make it be -3. And then I go say for padding for the side, so I go say px. Then for the left and for the right, I go say okay, we'll make it -4. But I will also say make the button, make it rounded. So I'll say rounded -4. So this just means say I want make the button rounded for the side. You know, since say the text they explain what they happen for the button. So and I say because this text of the button is very tiny, I want make the font weight, right? Make it be dash semi bold, just like the other ones, right? Make we add that I there and press save. And you can see say now we don't get this nice looking button. We go resemble the other button we get for there already, right? But it still get some kind of other things we go like do. Like for example, we go like add some other attributes to our button we never add before. So make I just say we want minimize this page first small, and then make we open up. So if you look here, you go see say this button, it get as it be, it just a show big for here, it just a show small for here. But if you look the final version for here, and I make the screen smaller, you go notice say this one here, if I click on the button, they very long, like the button full ground, right? So I'm going to take down for this our Bootstrap. Simple. You go just come here into our VS Code and make I expand this a bit. And for inside that VS Code, make we say we want for inside this top class where they here, this one we first is where we wrap everything. We will say we want set in display to grid. So we'll say D grid, and that's it. So this one will help us spread the thing out, go help us broad the whole button out. So if I say make I reduce arm, and click this collapse button for there. But still say now we get that our wide button, and 2 4 it go dey big, it go dey wide until the button we dey say am say don't turn normal button for us for any font size. It go dey work nice for us for there. But of course, if we click am now, e no go work. But our own previous one is supposed to see a form for the finished version. But for this one, if you click am now, nothing they happen. So what we're going to do is say we're going to need add some other functionalities we go help us, but we never add them yet. So make we like just like that. We don't build our navbar navigation for our website. So now make we add the remaining elements we will need. So I'm gonna close this one small, and then we'll just scroll down a bit and make we look. Wait we define now to add this image, and we want to add this title, then we want to add this text, and we want to add these 2 buttons for inside here. So I'm going to take drum. Well, if you look the screens where you go see say the screen, you go see say one day this side and one day this side. Meaning say one day one column and the other one day another column. So that now if we get this 2 column grid for here, but make we say we want to go back into our VS Code. And then make I just make a big again. So just after the navigation, because right now we don't finish the nav bar, but we still get some kind of things to touch for inside the nav bar. Don't worry about that one. For just after the nav bar, we want to add a container, and we want make that container after the nav bar. Remember, say we did this nav bar for here, and we don't get any other container for here. So the nav bar dey outside this container. But now we want to add a container we go hold all the other elements wey dey inside this nav bar, because we don't want to restrict this nav bar to this container we go dey here. That's why we do am outside. Make we add this thing, then we say hero contents. And this hero contents, make we say for here, we want to add a class of container. So I say class of container. And after this class of container, I want a row. So I will say class of row. And after that row, I want another class of align item center. So I will say align dash item dash center. All right. Now, if I don't do it like this, you go see say now we get this align items, but we get them, we go align all the elements for the center for us. So make we say we want a column as a child of this row. Remember what we don't discuss about rows and columns. So we could just say we want a column, but this column we want make it always day by 6 whenever it day MD or whenever it day medium screen size. So we go say column 6, column hyphen 6 for there. And now if I press tab for here, we can just do times 2 because we want 2 columns, right? So we'll say times 2. And we want the class, so we just say class and press tab for there. So we get this divs with the classes right inside there. Now when we don't get our items like this, so make we say we want add the heading. So I go say heading, I go say h1. And this h1, I want to give them a class of text dash capitalize. And then I want to give them another class. We get a font weight of bold. So I will say fw dash bold. And then I want to make it just set the display down at the size of the text. Make it be display 5. So I will say display dash 5. So it could be big, small for us. And then maybe just add some text for here. So I could just say, so if I press tab, we get this H1, we get this text for them. Now make we add the text for here. So make we add the p tag. And the p tag, we want a p with the class of text dash muted. This will change the text color to muted. If you just write any text here, but me, I will just write lorem ipsum. 20. And if I press tab for them, it's supposed to give me my lorem ipsum. And for inside this dummy text, make we check the preview of what they do. If you notice, say this text, it just did sit down for the top. We will still attend to that in a minute. And then for inside this VS Code, make we say we want to assign inside this our div where they work with, right? Now here we want to add our buttons. What I would like to say, I would like to wrap the text inside in own container. So I could just say, make we go above all the text for here. And then for here, I could just say, okay, make we add our own class. So I could say class of empty-5 for so I could say padding top. But I want to set them to 5. Empty or class of empty and a margin top dash. And I will set them to medium, but this medium, I want for this medium screen, make it just be margin top 2 for the medium screen size. And then we will just press tab for there. Now once we press that tab for there, make we carry all the other elements into this div for here. So I will say I want a div. For this div now, I want to make it get a button. So I will say class of btn, or I want a btn, yeah, I will say button. And this button with the class of btn, I want to make it get btn primary also. So I want to make it be blue button. So I will say btn class of btn dash primary. I want another class. Now, which class I defined? I defined the padding for the top, and I defined the padding for the bottom. So I will say padding for the top bottom, just like that code we do before. I will say we want the padding for the top and for the bottom, make it be 3. And also I want the padding for the left and the right, class of padding on left and the right, make it be 4. So, and then I'll go again, just like before, say we want to make the class be rounded, this same button class, and then make it be rounded by 4. So I'll say dash 4. And then I'll also say make it be make we add a font weight, just like before. So we'll say font weight, sorry, not font weight, but FW. And this font weight W, we can set that to semi-bold. Now, if I just press tab on my keyboard, that will give me the attributes and the classes were defined. Now, make we add the attributes. So we want to just call them, give them an attribute of a button, because that is what this button they do. it is a button, right? And then make we say we want add the text. So which will be the first text we define? The first text we define now about country. So if I just press save for there. Now, what again we need? Well, we're going to need to add the second button for here. So make we go to the next line and then make we say we define another button. So I will say if we don't duplicate this text, so make we just duplicate now for this code. And as we don't duplicate the code, scroll down a bit. As we don't duplicate this code, we could just change only small thing for here, and that now the kind of the button will be. So the button we define now the outline button, which means you no go get any color to fill up. You go get the color for only the border. So go say outline. Just after that btn dash button, you go say btn outline, and then you go give them the color. So we could change this text for here, and then we could just say invite a co-worker. All right, so press save for here. Sorry, press save for here. It's supposed to help us arrange the code. Now make we see whether what we don't they work on since if they even they work for us, right? So make we go back into our browser, and yay! Now this is the button just the show as we like make it show. Of course, if you say you get many things where see they different compared to this one, the font size it they big, you know say I'm a video. But if you check here, if you see we get this line for here, this horizontal line where they stand for here. So make we go back here. Make we try add that horizontal line and you get space and some kind of things we go like do. So what I go like do say make we open our VS Code. And for inside this VS Code, make I move the VS Code to the side. Now, what we want to do is say we want to add another div, we want to add another element for inside here, right? That's what we want to do. So I'm going to take down, make we talk say we want to add a div with a class of virtual of vertical ruler. So we go say class of VR of virtual reality vertical ruler, now be this class. Now, if we done like this, this will give us that ruler where we get for there. I don't know if now if you see the ruler for there, but if you know if you make we add some space because we're gonna need that space. So we're gonna say for inside here, we want to add another class of mx, then our margin on the left and on the right, and then we'll just set down to 2 for there. So it will give us that margin for the left and for the right. I don't know if you now see that margin for there. So what's again we need to do for here? Well, if we format our code, we're going to need to just push this button come down, and we're going to need to just rearrange this text, make it tick well small for us, for our eyes. All right. So for inside this button we define for here, for inside this button div where we get for here, we get some kind of styles where we go like to add to make our button come nice well for us. Say we want to display, we want to make the items, make it display flex. Make we use flex box, right? So we'll say display dash flex, and then we go set some kind of other classes. So which one we define? We define justify dash content, and we dey want set am to the center. So make it the center anything, make it every item for here by default they go the center, but we don't want them for the center. What we want to be saying, we want them for the center by default, but for other screens way big and all those things, make it the left side, which are the starting. So we'll say justify, we'll say we want md, that for medium screen, but we want them say make it start, right? But this go only happen when we did from medium screen above to LG screens and XXL screens. And then these styles go apply. And then make we just add a margin for the top and for the bottom. And then we want the margin make it day for us there. And now if we press save and go back into the browser, you go see say now we get this margin way help us arrange. So this one will stretch out to any of the buttons. And if I say make we reduce the screen, because remember, say we change the style for big screen, say make this text, make these buttons they this side. So if I reduce the button, if I reduce you see say now, you see they decide, you see they decide, because you say now the button don't move, come the middle. Now they don't do. So if I move on, it go always do the middle, you not go to do the edge again. If I increase them here, it don't move go that side from bigger screen. Already you see say we never even add any media query and see what in Bootstrap they help us to do. But if you look inside here, you can see this my button, this my text for here. You get as it be, you know, they arrange itself. So what you go like to say, we want to arrange the text for the center and add some kind of other styles for now, because it still looks somehow different from what we get for this one for here, right? So make we go back into our VS Code. Now for inside our VS Code, you still get many other classes where for like make we they add to this our components. So make we they add those classes, right? Now if you come here, make we just go to the top for here, where we get this main container for here. What we want to say, make other things they happen for this our button for us, meaning make the text they stay the center by default. But when the text don't dey big screen, make the text for medium screen, MD, make it dey start from the starting side, just like we did before. So we say make it start from the starting. And once you done like this, and we press save, make we go back to the example and see how it dey behave. So you see say now the text don't dey the center for by default for any small screen, go dey the center, go dey the center, go dey the center. But if you say make we pop the belle, make we dey pump the belle, make we dey pump the belle, pump the belle, pump the belle, you go see say boom, you don't jump go this side for here. All right. So that's how we dey take do this size for here. But make we see wetin I wetin dey make we try change fix this button where we get for here, or this head where we get for here. It be like say it never dey work well well. So we could check our code, make we see whether we make any mistake for there. And yeah, you can see say I don't make big mistake for here. So the mistake is say I go write this dash after the display, and if we just move them away, that means say now we get these different classes. So it's supposed to be font weight bold, and no hyphen go connect the display to them. That's the mistake I make. So I just press save. This text supposed big pass waiting the be before, and that issue with suppose don't fix in save. So I press save, and we say make we go back our VS Code or our browser, because to say now we get this menu where they work as we expect them to work. So you see, we get the text, beautiful looking text, and you see as it behave for us for here. And then you see say this part, this button, the way big for here, I not too like how. So how we go take fix them? Well, we could just come back into our button of VS Code. And if we enter that button, so we could go down, we could find our buttons. And so now you see we get this our two buttons. Well, if we say these are our two buttons, they're going to get this styling by default. It's no bad. But maybe they add the stylings for inside instead for any of these our two buttons where we get for here. So maybe they say we want to make these buttons, they behave differently for medium screen, and maybe they behave differently for small screen. So if you just say for only this PY, make it be 2. But whenever it be PY for mobile screens, then it could be 3. So then MD, I'm going to set them to 3. And then make we just say, in fact, I'm going to say make the PY be 1 for here. And then make we say for the PX, make we say PX for medium screen, make it just be 4. But for by default, make it be 2. So I will set them to 2 for there. And if I press save, you go see say the button, it go they behave differently from the other one. But before we do that, make we just go the other button, make we add that style to them so that everything go they work the exact same way for here. So make I press save and come back our button. You see now we get these buttons where their styling don't reduce. If we even reduce their border radius self, if we want, say okay, from this amount, you see say now the styling don't change. So if you just drop the styling for here, you see how say if we increase the styling, if we drop the styling. So make we just increase the styling to +1. So make we go back our VS Code. And then make we change their styling by default from inside this PY1. Like we say, we don't want that PY1 again, we want PY2, and we will set that one for medium to 3. And instead of 2, we want this one make it be 3. And this supposed to help us make the code even much nicer. If we check out, you see say it still look fine for these both screens, just like the other button way it's supposed to be. So thank you guys for giving me that idea. We will take fix debug this code for here together. So I could just open them again. All right, since the style don't change, and our menu did it. Now, what's in they missing now? The icon we're supposed to get for here, right? Because if you check the other one, you could not say we get one with large image for there, right? So we could say, okay, well, this large image, we want to make it behave in a certain way for us. So make we open up, we go add that image. So we will go back our VS Code. And for inside this our VS Code, make we say we want set the styling for this code we did the bottom. So I could just come here inside this column and go just collapse the code. So you see say this column 6 for here, this left side, we just collapse them. So now we go work on the right side now. One way we say if we put image inside this div, make the image just be responsive. We no care again waiting will happen to the image. We just want make it responsive or make it hide itself. So how we go do? Well, first thing we're going to do is we're going to need the image, right? So we'll add the image. I'm going to just press down for there. Then make we add the path to the image. So I say dot slash, then at this directory. I want access the asset directory, and I want access the hero PNG. So this now, this hero picture we will get for here. Then make we just add a text. So I could just say hero image is here. right? The next one we need do now, say we want just add a class. So make I save the image first, make we dey see the code we dey work with. So if I put am like this now here, you go see say we get this image for here, right? But if we dey try dey reduce the screen now, this image e no go dey cooperate with our design. Why? Because we never dey add our own bootstrap styles wey we need for here. So I go just zoom out small, so we go to see, and then I go to reduce the screen. Now you dey see say as I reduce the screen, the image no dey even shrink. It just dey big and they push this my site anyhow, and they it just scatter other things. Whereas in the other case, this image is supposed still reduce, because you see say this our thing they reduce, but the image they reduce. Well, I'm gonna take fix them. So we're gonna go back into our VS Code, and then we need to add some kind few classes, or actually just one powerful class we're gonna need to add, which now the class of, so let's say class, and class will define that img or fluid. This go make sure say Bootstrap go see this image as a fluid picture. You see say now the picture don't reduce. So if I say make we come back inside our browser and start to reduce the picture, you see say the picture now it don't arrange itself to our container. You know they stick out again. So if I say make we come to reduce the image, reduce that, you see say now the image they drop, it dey respect the rules of nature, and now since say the image don't dey down and it don't drop in row now to the bottom here. So how we want take even do am, we be say this image we don't want make it dey show again because e not too fine for the screen. Wetin we want to be say, we want make it disappear once it don't reach small screen. We want make it show when it dey medium screen, it look fine like this. We want make it still show when it dey big screen, it look fine like this. How we go take do am? Now that time we'll come go back our VS Code, and for inside our VS Code, we'll come need to dey work with the parent or this column for here. So what we want to be say, we want the display and want the hide things whenever we did this image. Now make the picture, make it no hide. So we'll say display none. So it go hide the picture. But that means say by default, this picture no go there. But it there, but we just hide them, right? And then we want to say, okay, now as we don't hide the picture, we only want to show the picture at certain points. So once we reach that breakpoint, now that time we want make the picture show. So how we go take do am? Now that time we go set the other class we define, which now display dash md, and then we go set that for medium screen. Say we want them to block. And now that means say from medium screen, it could display block for us. So if we start, make we start to reduce the screen, reduce, a day medium, a day medium, a day medium, a day medium, a day tablet screen, medium, it don't drop. So once we never reach that medium, the buttons, I say the buttons, the image, it go hide itself. But once we go, don't hit that medium screen, the image could show again for us. And it still look nice for medium screen, right? So if we increase that for here, for large screen, it could show well for us. If we make them to extra large, it could show perfectly for us for here. So make we go back our VS Code and make we expand that VS Code. So if you look here, you go see say now everything does they resemble our initial design small. So make I close and make we cross check. So we get the text, everything look nice. Make we check here, and we just say something's still they different. So what's in the difference? Well, if you look here, you go see say we get this blue line or this blue gradient. So this now background image we will use, and this background image we want make it just kind of wrap everything for here. Make we expand this tab for here, so, and then make we start to add the styling for our background we will work with, right? What I go like do be say I go like add a CSS into this file, but I want to do the CSS for inside here, and then I will just add the style here. Say I define the style, and the style I define that the background, I define background image, and this background image I want to give them a URL. So I will say URL, and this URL will be defined. I want to give them the path to the URL. So I will say assets, and the image will be defined that the base one.png. So that will give us the real image for base one. So after that one, what's again we need? Well, we're gonna need to add some other classes to make sure say this is our background image. They show and they work well the way we would like make it work. So make it close them off with that semicolon. And then we're going to say we define other attributes or other stylings for here. So we define which one? We define the background dash size. And after the background size, which background size we define? We define cover. So as we don't do the background size cover, we also make the background, make it not repeat itself. So we'll say background dash repeat. I'm going to just say colon no repeat. So we'll say no dash repeat. Oh, let's go. There you go. So once you do that no repeat, the background no go repeat itself again. But also we go like center and we go like position the background. So we'll say background, then we'll say position. I'm gonna set that position to center. All right. So now if I press save, it will help us arrange our styling and we'll get that blue background for this asset with file. Because if I check this image here, like I come here and then maybe check this base one, using that just ordinary background where we get this bluish looking background for here. So I just want to show and say if we use that kind of thing for our bootstrap file. So we can close out. So we don't add our styling for here. Make we go back into our example. Make we go back here. And this is say now we get our blue background where they cover everything we want. Just the way our finished demo they work for us. Nice here. But for now, that's all we need to learn. I will see you now for the next video. Thank you.